You're being watched, but not by humans. There's an eye on the money in your wallet. There's an eye etched into ancient temple ceilings. And throughout history, during revolutions, in rituals, at the birth of new orders, it has silently stared. This eye never blinks. It never sleeps. It's known as the all-seeing eye. Some call it the eye of God, others the eye of revelation, and in certain secret circles it's whispered as the mark of the awakened. But here's the question. Is it a symbol of divine insight, or a tool of control, a beacon to ignite the soul, or a cold observer of all things? For centuries, this eye has been drawn, carved, printed and honored, and just as often misunderstood. You've seen it before. At the top of a pyramid, on the back of a $1 bill, embedded in architecture, Freemason insignias, even pop culture. It appears everywhere, like a silent witness or a sovereign judge. But today we're going deeper, not just to the origin of a symbol, but to the origin of a force, the eye of consciousness itself. This isn't just the history of an image, it's the story of a hidden power within the human psyche, a way of seeing through illusion and awakening from it. This eye isn't physical, it's spiritual, it's symbolic, it's philosophical, and yes, it's revolutionary. What hidden role does it play in Freemasonry? Why does it flicker through America's founding documents and symbols? And most importantly, how is it still alive, shaping our thoughts, guiding unseen beliefs? In this episode, we'll peel back the veil. We'll ask, where did this eye first appear and what ancient belief systems birthed it? How do the Freemasons interpret its meaning? Why is it always paired with pyramids and light? How is it connected to the third eye, the pineal gland, and awakened consciousness? And what impact does this symbol still have on how we perceive freedom, divinity, and truth? So, are you ready? We're about to journey from the domes of forgotten temples through the halls of Masonic ritual and into the modern human mind, to explore whether the eye that sees all might just help us finally see ourselves. Let's turn back the clock. Thousands of years. In ancient Egypt, atop the crown of the pharaoh, there stood an eye gazing into eternity. It was called the Eye of Horus, a symbol of divine kingship, restoration, omniscience, and the sacred cycle of destruction and rebirth. According to myth, when Horus, the sky god, battled Set, the god of chaos, his eye was torn apart. It was later restored by Thoth, the god of wisdom. And so the Eye of Horus became a symbol of wholeness, of consciousness, an eye that had seen ruin and returned as rebirth. You might think this is just mythology, but in Masonic symbolism, this ancient tale was not forgotten. It was re-encoded. After the Greeks conquered Egypt, these symbols and ideas began to shift. The Eye of Horus grew more abstract. It no longer belonged to a specific deity. It became a representation of awakened awareness itself, an inner sight capable of piercing illusion and discerning truth. This idea quietly flowed through the hands of medieval alchemists and esoteric thinkers, until the 17th century, when Freemasonry emerged, and the eye resurfaced once again. In Masonic allegory, humanity is seen as an unfinished temple. Each person is a stone mason of the self and the eye. It is the compass that guides one toward the true self. That's why the all-seeing eye always hovers above the pyramid. It represents the final trial before spiritual completion. Can you face the truth without being consumed by illusion? In many Masonic lodges and architectural designs, the all-seeing eye is placed at the highest point, radiating light. Sometimes it appears in the center of a great dome, symbolizing divine observation. Other times it's linked to the sun, stars, and rays of illumination, symbolizing enlightenment. But in true esoteric tradition, this eye does not belong to an external god. It is the eye that awakens within you, the pure awareness that arises when the soul is no longer asleep. And it does not watch others, it watches you. There's a Masonic phrase, the light comes from the east. This doesn't refer to direction, it refers to awakening, insight, the arrival of truth, like the rising sun dispersing the shadows. We must understand in 17th century Europe, knowledge was dangerous. The church and monarchy held control over truth. Ordinary people were forbidden to read, to question, to seek. On the surface, Freemasonry appeared as a guild of stonemasons. But beneath that veil, it served as a secret custodianship of knowledge. Through symbols, rituals, and coded language, they preserved ancient wisdom, including the true meaning of the all-seeing eye. And so the eye was never meant to be a mark of control. It was originally the seal of the awakened. Only later was its meaning distorted, repurposed as a symbol of power and authority. But now we return to its core. In the next section, we'll begin our deep decoding. Layer by layer, we'll dissect this symbol, from the structure of the pyramid to the metaphor of the third eye to the reasons why Freemasonry placed it above everything. And we'll explore how this eye became a symbol of free will and the divine spark of spiritual sovereignty. Now let's turn our focus to an image we all know, but have never truly understood. An illuminated eye floating above an unfinished pyramid. You've seen it before, on the back of the US $1 bill. To many, it's a symbol of conspiracy, even cited as proof of the Illuminati's global control. But if we set aside the paranoia and look deeper into the symbol's mystical architecture, we'll discover something far more profound. This isn't just political metaphor, it's a spiritual equation. The pyramid, the unfinished self. Let's start with the pyramid. This is not a monument of stone, it is a model of human consciousness. It's made of 13 steps, each layer representing an evolutionary stage, from the material to the sensory, to the emotional, to the mental. But it remains incomplete. Why? Because awakening is not yet finished. The true capstone isn't made of stone, it's made of light, not sunlight, but inner light, the radiance released when the soul transcends the ego and reaches higher awareness. In Masonic teachings, this is called light from the east, not a direction, but a symbol of dawn of the mind, awakening into its true nature. That's why the all-seeing eye floats above the pyramid, because it represents something that transcends form. It belongs neither to the body nor to religion, it belongs to the soul's source. The true meaning of the eye, to see or to be seen. Now let's look at the eye itself. Across nearly all ancient civilizations, the eye has been a sacred emblem of divine perception. In Egypt, the eye of Horus stood for protection and rebirth. In India, Shiva's third eye burned through illusion and revealed truth. In Jewish tradition, the eye represents God's omniscience. In Taoist mysticism, the celestial eye refers to the power to perceive the true essence of reality. But the all-seeing eye is not just a tool to see the world, it's a mirror. It reflects whether you are willing to face yourself. Have you truly seen? Do you see the world or the version you were taught to believe? The you in your mind, is it truly you or a projection built by society, family, culture and time? The Freemasons pose this question to every initiate through the eye. Are you ready to open your real eye? Why is the eye always above? A symbolic breakdown. In nearly every depiction, the all-seeing eye is placed high above, whether atop architecture, at the peak of emblems, or on the summit of a pyramid. It's reminding us, first, that beyond consciousness there is higher consciousness. Second, that true awakening is the result, not the beginning. Third, that the eye doesn't belong to any one person. It is a symbol of transpersonal wisdom, accessible to anyone, but only through self-awareness and inner discipline. As the ancients said, you must first be seen before you can truly see. In other words, before we can hold the light to observe the world, we must have the courage to let that light reveal us. This is the most sacred moment in Masonic initiation. The initiate is blindfolded and led into the temple in darkness. Only when the blindfold is removed and they face the symbolic eye are they considered to have begun their journey into the light. This is not mere theatre, it's a deep psychological and spiritual rebirth. In the next chapter, we'll go even deeper. We'll uncover the powerful connection between the all-seeing eye, the Ajna chakra, the third eye, and the pineal gland. We'll explore how it aligns with ancient models of consciousness evolution, and we'll reveal how, in the modern world, this symbol has been misunderstood, misused, and even weaponized. Because the more deeply truth is hidden, the more we must learn to see with the eye within. If the all-seeing eye is a mirror, one that reflects humanity's journey through evolving consciousness, then the Freemasons are the ones who polished that mirror, positioned it, and have guarded it ever since. They are the invisible architects of history, not only shaping civilization, but at times challenging it. They do not seize power through violence. Instead, they influence the world quietly through symbols, rituals, structures, and thought. You may have heard their name, but that doesn't mean you truly know who they are. So, what exactly is Freemasonry, and why is it so inseparably linked to the all-seeing eye? The power of the silent ones, why they don't speak. And here comes the skeptic's question. If Freemasonry holds such noble ideals, why remain secretive? Why hide? The answer is difficult, but honest. This world has never welcomed true freedom of thought. Throughout history, Masons have been persecuted, exiled, executed. They've challenged the tyranny of kings, the dogma of churches, and championed liberty, reason, and the evolution of the soul. So they chose silence. They chose symbol. They chose to guard truth through ritual, not through doctrine. Only those who are ready will understand. That is still their code to this day. In the next part of our journey, we'll step into the present moment. What does Freemasonry look like today? What do they still do? How is their structure maintained? Does their influence still echo in the modern world? And which public figures, past and present, have been linked to their vision? Because the greatest secrets are never really hidden. They're waiting for the moment when you're finally ready to see with the real eye. When we gaze upon the all-seeing eye, many assume it's merely a relic, a leftover echo of some distant mythic past, as if it belonged only to ancient figures cloaked in secrecy, long gone from our modern world. But what if I told you the eye is still watching? And more than that, Freemasonry is still alive, not a myth, not a conspiracy, a real functioning network, woven quietly into the architecture of our modern society. It didn't vanish, it evolved, shifting from secret chambers into the unseen framework of the present. A global network, the invisible architecture of the real world. Today, Freemasonry spans over 200 countries and territories. Its membership exceeds 6 million people worldwide. It thrives in the United States, especially in the South and East, the United Kingdom, home to the oldest Grand Lodge, Youghal in London. France, Germany, Canada, Australia, India, the Philippines, Brazil, they have headquarters, initiation systems, governing charters, donor networks, and a shared symbolic language. Every year they conduct hundreds of thousands of events, from small gatherings to grand initiations to philosophical symposiums. But contrary to popular imagination, most Masonic lodges are not hidden. They're public, yet internally guarded. You might pass a building downtown labeled Freemasons Hall and never know what kinds of conversations or soul work are unfolding inside. Freemasonry's public identity is as a charitable and ethical organization. Each year, they donate billions to hospitals, education, elder care, and disaster relief. Their three core principles: charity, truth, brotherly love. But beneath the surface, they preserve an intricate web of symbols and spiritual training. New members undergo rituals of symbolic death and rebirth. Every advancement requires symbolic tests and philosophical reflection. Meetings are structured by sacred geometry, codes, and spatial design. Their symbolic language explores life's meaning, cosmic order, and the soul's evolution. This is not religion, it's not dogma. It's something deeper, a system of consciousness training. They believe the world doesn't lack information, it lacks initiated wisdom. You know the names, but you may not know their Masonic ties. George Washington and Benjamin Franklin, founding fathers of the United States. Napoleon Bonaparte, Winston Churchill and Prince Charles, Mark Twain, Voltaire, Goethe, Oscar Wilde. Mozart, who embedded Masonic codes in his compositions. Buzz Aldrin, who raised a Masonic flag on the moon. Even in pop culture, Shaquille O'Neal, Johnny Depp, each linked at one point to Masonic circles. What unites them? They weren't just builders of the outer world, they were seekers of inner truth. As one Masonic creed says, a Freemason is not defined by power, but by the light within his soul. Whispers of the Freemasons echo through many strange and pivotal chapters of history. The mysterious assassination of JFK. Private banking meetings before the creation of the Federal Reserve, the Titanic, and certain elite figures who never returned. The symbolic layout of Washington, D.C., mirroring Masonic geometry. And even the question, was there a ritual performed on the moon? None of this has ever been fully proven, but none of it has ever been entirely disproven either. This isn't about conspiracy, it's about pattern, it's about consciousness, and those who work quietly at its frontier. At every turning point in human awakening, There's always a group of silent architects, not speaking but designing. Freemasonry doesn't teach you what to believe, it teaches you how to see. Just like the all-seeing eye, it doesn't belong to them, it belongs to any soul ready to awaken. But first you must ask yourself, are you truly ready to see this world and yourself clearly? Now, take one more look at the eye, that radiant eye atop the unfinished pyramid. Do you still believe it's their symbol, or perhaps it's been watching you all along? For thousands of years, this eye has been watched, contemplated and passed down by priests, initiates, politicians, artists, seekers, philosophers. Its meaning etched into the mason's hammer, the back of a dollar bill, the domes of ancient temples, the maps of modern cities, and yes, deep within your own mind, this eye has never closed. It's not meant to look at the world. It's meant to see through the illusion and illuminate the real. Freemasonry is not the blueprint for conspiracy. The true Masonic spirit has never been about controlling others, but guiding the self, shaping the soul, and living by inner order. In an age of noise, imbalance, and manipulation, they left behind something rare. A path, not a religion, not a political ideology, not a rigid philosophy, but a geometry of consciousness. Those symbols, those rituals, those riddle-like degrees. They were never meant to induct you into a club. They were meant to invite you to become the master builder of your own life. So now the question is, what about us? Are we still willing to see? Can we break free from the scripted visions we've been handed? Do we still have the courage to open the inner eye and face the true self buried deep in our subconscious? Remember, you're not searching for truth. You're searching for the ability to see truth. And the all-seeing eye, that silent, enduring symbol, it's not an answer, it's a gateway. Maybe we've never truly been controlled. Maybe we've just forgotten how to look. Maybe they never stopped you from awakening. You were just waiting for the right moment, and maybe that moment is now. If this video sparked something within you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment below. Have you ever felt the presence of an inner observer in your life? Has your view of Freemasonry changed after this exploration? Are you ready to begin your own journey of awakening? And don't forget to ring the bell. We'll continue unveiling the mysteries hidden in ancient symbols, forgotten wisdom, and the deeper structures of spiritual truth. Because this isn't just about history. This is your invitation to rediscover the real that was never truly lost.